is A-OK. Welcome back, folks, to another storytime stream. And why is it so bad now? My stream is experiencing issues. Great. I told you to! No fighting in here! I'm fucking... Boys, get over here. I told these two boys time and again that if they go into my room, there's no fighting. You know it! I've told you time and again. Boys, no fighting. Come on up. If you're in my room, there ain't no fighting, okay? Hello. No fighting in here, you know it. You both know no fighting. Dumbasses. Pizza. Pizza. There you go, boys. Can you get up here? Yeah. Get up here. Oh my god. Look at that. That's from Piout's alone. He is, oh my god, dropping fur all over the place. Like, don't mind the mess in the background. But yeah. Remember, depression. Yeah. But I realized that I could actually put it in my windowsill. My windowsill. My camera. So that I can get good lighting. But you can also hear they're outside. That's okay. Come. Miss. Yeah. And yeah, this way. He's up again. There you go. I'm just procrastinating at this point with getting my hair bleached. I'm in full could be gayer gear. Shorts and a t-shirt. Just don't mind my background. I don't have the cleanest room. It's quite messy. But yeah, we left off on a cliffhanger Tuesday, so let's hope we get some answers this time, eh? You can see him there. Kitty. Oh, right. I have my window open because it suddenly got really warm in here. So you can hear the wind from outside. I do apologize about that. I hope it's not too loud. You just say if it's too loud and I'll close my window, okay? What? Yes. Went out. You both went out. Okay, so that was the kitty content for today's stream, I guess. Well. My hair's a mess, and I wanted to find my beanie, but I couldn't. So, it's going to be this one. My cat instead. And you can hear our chickens now! It's probably the young roosters, the young adult roosters fighting or something. Or being chased by our adult rooster Luciano for getting on with the girls. With his girls. Or they were just being chased by bunnies. And bunnies like to chase chickens. I don't know why. Well. Oh yeah. I'm gonna believe them actually. Because I'm not listening to any music. Ow. Just kidding. Didn't hurt. It's just weird, isn't it, that we humans have, like, made it a fashion statement, like, purposely stab ourselves. Like, who invented earrings? Who came up with it in the first place? Who, like, stabbed themselves in the ear and was like, stabbed themselves fully through the ear and was like, yeah, I could put something in this to make it look cool. Who thought of that? Humans are deranged, really. But, have you got your water ready? I need some water now, actually, even though I already drank some. And yeah. Yeah. Left off on a cliffhanger and the end of part 2 of the book. So now we move on to part 3, which is called The Truth. So I'm expecting we get some answers in the next 5 chapters. Chapter 21. Starlight raced through the empty halls. All the night wings in the fortress seemed to be clustered around the council chamber, trying to hear what was going on. Once he'd fought his way out through the crowd, the passages would clear all the way back to the dormitory. I can warn them. For once I can help. I just have to get through to my friends. Fate Speaker was still asleep. Her wings tented over her, her side rising and falling with deep breaths. No one else was in the dormitory. Starlight had seen most of the Nightwing dragonettes in the crowd outside the council chamber. He bolted over to his bed and raced into the hole where he'd hidden the dream visitor. Even in the middle of the day, someone will be asleep. Maybe King Kaju again. Another Rainwing, if I have to. Maybe Glory will be having her sometime. I can get a message through to someone. I have to. Or they'll all be killed tonight. His claws closed on empty space. Starlight's chest constricted and he crouched, scrabbling through all the holes around his bed. He flung the blanket aside and searched from one end of the hollow to the other. He checked the beds on either side, his heart pounding faster and faster. But there was no doubt. The dream visitor was gone. "No," he whispered, scratching at the hiding spot again. How could it be gone? Someone must have seen him. Someone had lifted the blanket last night and realized what he had in his talons. Someone had watched from the shadows and taken it while he was away. But who? Could it be Marozia? Surely the large dragon would have punished Starlight severely if he'd caught him with the dream visitor. But maybe the punishment just hadn't landed yet. More important, what do I do now? Starlight? He whirled around and realized that Fate Speaker was awake and right behind him, watching with a confused expression. She hopped up on the nearest bed and peered into his face. Why are you flopping around like a scavenger with its head bitten off? That would be like us asking someone why they're running around like a chicken with its head cut off. Basically, I'm guessing. Is what Sutherland was thinking of. I don't know. I lost something, Starflight said. I mean, I left it right here, but it's gone, and I really, really need it. Did you see anyone over here today? She shook her head. Why? What is it? It's... He hesitated. How much should he tell her? She seemed like the only dragon he could trust on this whole island, and he needed help. But would she be willing to betray her tribe? Do you want to help the Rainwings? He asked. The sad dragons, she said, blinking. Of course I do. Not just the prisoners here, he said. The whole tribe is in danger. The Nightwings are planning to invade the rainforest through that tunnel I told you about. They're going to kill all the Rainwings, and they're doing it tonight. Fatespeaker's eyes widened. Why? She cried. Steal their territory for their own, he said. That's the thing, Fatespeaker. If you help me help the Rainwings, it means stopping the Nightwing plan. It means leaving our own tribe stuck on this island. It's hard. I can see how miserable they are here. But I can't let them do this to the Rainwings. Oh, my phone isn't on silent. That's okay. Me neither, Fatespeaker said firmly. Tell me what I can do. Well, Starflight said, I have no idea. She smacked him with one of her wings. You can't get me all riled up and tell me there's no plan. We're going to warn the Rainwings, right? He turned back to his bed. That's what I was trying to do, but the dream visitor is missing, and he turned back around and found her halfway to the door. Wait, Fatespeaker! He leaped after her, caught her tail, and dragged her back toward him. Where are you going? She looked at him as if he were crazy. To warn the Rainwings! Like we just decided. You mean go to the rainforest? He said. His heart was hammering, and his legs felt as though they could barely hold him up. But something in his head was also shouting, Yes, yes, this is what you have to do. Go do it. He started pacing. We can't fly there. It'll take too long. We have to go through the tunnel, but that's impossible. There'll be a million dragons guarding it. I'm not Claire Tsunami. I can't fight one dragon. I can't even fight one dragonette. Let alone the whole squadron full of grown-up Nightwings. But we have to try, Fatespeaker said. So let's do it! She pressed her front talons to her head and smiled. My visions say we shall succeed. Let's charge the tunnel and see how far we get. Starflight winced. Not to argue with your visions, but I can tell you exactly how far we'll get. Into the cell next to Deathbringers if we're lucky, or tossed into the volcano if we're not. She dropped her arms and looked thoughtful for a minute. So, what if I distract the guards and you sneak through? I have a vision and that says that will totally work. He shook his head. That's how Deathbringer got Clay here. I doubt they'll fall for it again. We have to do this the smart way, but maybe there's a way to trick them. Who would be allowed through the tunnel? He tapped his claws on the floor. The soldiers who tried to grab Tsunami were allowed through. Perhaps we could say the Queen sent us to kidnap Sunny. Fatespeaker looked down at herself dubiously. Right. 2 dragonettes. They won't believe that at all. Starflight picked up a scroll from Mind Reader's bed and turned it nervously between his talons. So, who else or why else? It was like a thunderbolt hitting him. Ooh, you have an idea, Fate Speaker said. I do, Starflight said. It's worth a try, but we need one more dragon to make it work. In her nighttime wanderings, Fate Speaker had found the healer's hall, and she was able to lead the way back there without hesitation. Starflight glanced in first. As he'd hoped, the healers were still in the council chamber with the soldiers who'd fought Tsunami. The large room was mostly deserted. A few dragons slept restlessly on the narrow stone beds, most of them with lava-related injuries from the looks of it. Two of the Nightwings bore recent rain venom scars, and he realized those must have been the ones Glory attacked during her escape. They smelled slightly of poppies and anise, and he guessed they were in some kind of medicine-induced stupor. A fire blazed in a rough fireplace in the center of the wall, and in the bed closest to it was Flame, fast asleep. There was a strip of cloth tied around his head, but now Starflight could see a little more of what Viper had accidentally done to the Skywing. A vicious slash ran from one corner of his mouth, sideways, and up across his face, straight through the opposite eye. It oozed blood and something darker. "Oh, Flame!" Fate Speaker whispered, her voice breaking. "It's not as bad as I thought," Starflight whispered to her, trying to be reassuring. "Viper only hit one of his eyes. That means hopefully he'll still be able to see out of the other one, so he won't be completely blind." "If we can save him," Fate Speaker said. "Right." He took a deep breath. "I wish we didn't have to wake him," she whispered. "I'll do it." He touched Flame's shoulder with one wing. Flame, wake up. It's important." The Skywing blearily opened his good eye. He moaned at the sight of them and closed it again. "You have to come with us," Fate Speaker said. "We know how to save you," Starflight said. "But it'll only work if we go now." Flame mumbled something that sounded like, "Why would you save me?" "Because you're my friend and it's the right thing to do," Fate Speaker said. "Humph," muttered Flame. Starflight poked him in the side. "Because we can use your tragic face to get us off this island." There was a pause. Flame lifted his head and squinted at Starflight. "That sounds like a real reason," he said in a stronger voice, although it still had a blurry sound to it, and his head wobbled like his brain was wrapped in sheep's wool. Starflight held out his wing, and the red dragonet slowly slid off the bed, resting his weight on Starflight's shoulder. Fate Speaker hurried ahead to the door, waved an "all clear," and led the way to the nearest balcony overlooking the prison caves. Starflight paused at the edge of the balcony, looking out. Down there was the black sand beach. Down there was the tunnel to the rainforest. Down there was the gateway back to his friends. And down there were an unknown number of Nightwing soldiers who might take one look at Starflight, Flame, and Fate Speaker and send them to the dungeon for life. Or until the volcano erupted and killed them themselves. And killed them anyway. "There's nothing to be afraid of," Starflight told himself. "This is the only thing you can do, and you must do it." Supporting Flame between them, Starflight and Fate Speaker. "Oh God, no! I don't wanna." Yawn. Yeah. Supporting Flame between them, Starflight and Fate Speaker launched themselves into the sky and flew toward their tunnel. End of chapter 21. Well then! Hopefully they'll be able to get through and warn the others. I'm guessing they actually managed to do it because we still got a way to go before the end of the book. So. But yeah. It's actually really nice just sitting in front of my window and reading. Like, actually being able to look out at the nice, clear sky and it being so light and everything. And getting a cold breeze into my face. That's really nice. Anyway, chapter 22. It wasn't hard to guess where the tunnel to the rainforest was. Once they reached the black sand beach, the cluster of armed nightwings gathered at the entrance of a certain cave was a fairly strong clue. Be confident, Starflight said to Fate Speaker, thinking of Tsunami bluffing the Sea Wing soldiers. Act like we're doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing. Not a problem, Fate Speaker said. I mean, we are. Starflight guessed that she rarely had trouble with her confidence. Now he just had to follow his own advice. And he had to hope that the news hadn't gotten here from the council chamber yet, that these guards wouldn't know about the planned attack tonight. They landed just inside the cave mouth, staggering forward under Flame's weight. The red dragonet slid slowly to the ground. He looked groggy and close to fainting. Stay with us, Starflight said to him, squeezing one of Flame's talons. What's the meaning of this? Growled the biggest Nightwing guard. He paced forward to loom over them, glaring at Flame in particular. Here we go, Starflight thought. Maybe all these games of pretend we used to play will turn out to be useful after all. Didn't you get the message? I knew that would happen, he said. He wanted to sound bold and authoritative, like Tsunami, but his voice sounded higher and more anxious than he'd hoped. So work with that. It makes sense that I'd be anxious about this plan. If I can't be Tsunami, then try to convince them as Starflight, the nervous know-it-all. He pointed at Flame. This is one of the dragonets of the prophecy. As you can see, he was slashed by a sandwing tail today. Starflight peeled up the bandage a little so the guards could see the oozing wound underneath. All of them let out a collective gasp of horror and stepped back. Starflight straightened and folded his wings. The venom is extremely deadly. The Queen has ordered us to take him through to the rainforest and from there to the Kingdom of Sand to find a cure. You, said the head guard skeptically. I know, I was nervous about the whole idea too, Starflight said, hoping they'd believe that was why his talons were shaking. But she said, I'm the only Nightwing who won't get attacked or chased away by the dragonets in the rainforest. They know me. They'll think I'm on their side. Can you imagine a Nightwing being friends with a Sea Wing or a Mudwing? Or a Rainwing, of all creatures? A few of the guards were nodding, but the biggest one didn't look convinced. I'll have to verify this order, the big guard said, signaling one of the other dragons forward. Of course you do, Starflight said, letting his panic spill into his voice a little. I said this would happen. She's going to be so angry, he said to Fate Speaker, then sent back to the guard. I told them you'd delay us by sending someone back to the fortress. I told them this Skywing would be dead before we got through, but nobody listens to me. Her Majesty said you'd take one look at him and understand the urgency, and that I shouldn't worry. He wrung his claws together. But of course I was right to worry. I'm always right about worrying. Said the guard. He was starting to look almost as nervous as Starflight felt. He's really that close to death? It's all right, Starflight said, rubbing his head anxiously. I'd do exactly the same thing in your place. She'll probably kill all of us, but what else could you do? He nodded at the messenger. Go ahead, you can tell her it doesn't really matter, since he'll be dead by the time you return. He nudged Flame with one toe. The Skywing obligingly looked even more like a dying fish. But he can't die! Fate Speaker jumped in, as if she'd been having this argument with Starflight the whole way here. He's the only Skywing we've got. Without him, no prophecy, no plan, no rainforest home for our tribe. Hello. You can't see it, but there's a spider right here. Hello, what you doing? Hello, friend, what you doing? Go up again. No, not down, not down. You're going the wrong way, friend. You're so cute. You're going the wrong way. Dearie me. funny? Here you go. There we go. Yes, most people would just say quick to that spider, but not me. The gods behind the leader were starting to mutter and crane their necks to peer at Flame. But he has to check the order, Starflight argued back. What's he going to do? Just let two Nightwing Dragonets wander through the tunnel with a Skywing? Why, we might... He paused, then looked at the god. What are you worried we'll do? Well, I don't know, he said, shifting his spear from talon to talon. I'm just following protocol. See? Starflight said to Fatespeaker. Protocol! Flame wheezed in a dying gasp kind of way. We gotta let them through, Chief, said one of the gods. The Queen is right. This Dragonet is the only one who can get into the rainforest. That's why we grabbed him. That's where we grabbed him from. He can get that Skywing the cure. No one else can. Starflight gave her a grateful look that was entirely heartfelt. The head god flexed his claws in an uneasy expression. No funny business, he said to Starflight. You fix that Skywing and come back. We'll be back by nightfall, Fatespeaker promised. Maybe we'll even learn something about what they're planning over there. They'll probably tell this one everything. She jerked her head at Starflight. He's got them wrapped around his tail from what I hear. Makes sense, said another god. Let him through, chorused two more. The leader glanced toward the fortress again, and then finally wearily stepped back out of their way. Starflight heaved Flame up, flopping the Dragonet's red wing over one of his own shoulders, and then he and Fatespeaker dragged him down the long corridor to the back cave, where a dark hole in the wall radiated the wrongness that Starflight remembered from the tunnels in the rainforest. The Nightwing guards stared at them as they went past. Starflight kept expecting one of them to yell, "It's a trick, they're lying." He forced himself to concentrate on their story. Flame needs the cure for Sandwing venom. We have to take him through to save him. It had the advantage of being true, which helped. As they reached the hole, one of the guards stepped forward suddenly, and Starflight just barely managed to stop himself from flinching. It turned out she was reaching to help them lift Flame into the hole. Starflight nodded to her and then hopped up to join the Skywing. We did it, but we're not safe yet. In the tunnel, there was just enough space to fly. Fatespeaker went first, then Flame in a wobbly flap that felt excruciatingly slow to Starflight, and they began the winding trek back toward the rainforest. The air grew warmer and wetter, and the sounds of insects and monkeys chittering began to reverberate off the walls. Fatespeaker twisted to glance back at Starflight with a grin. But he couldn't force his mouth into a smile. Not yet. Not until he felt the jungle earth crumble between his claws. Sorry, I'm reading ahead. Green sunlight shone up ahead of them. Fatespeaker twisted in a happy way and sped up without seeming to realize it. She shot out into the rainforest several lengths before Flame. Starflight heard a scream, and then the scream abruptly cut off. He shoved Flame forcefully out of the hole and burst into the glorious warm day. Magenta pink flowers dripped from the trees, and a number of silvery sloths poked their heads through the leaves to examine the newcomers. A bird with long blue tail feathers strutted by, eyeing him beadily. "Stop right there!" a voice yelled. "Don't move, and put your talons on your head and surrender, and your claws where I can see them." Starflight wasn't sure which conflicting order to follow. He twisted rapidly in a circle and spotted Fate Speaker lying next to a stream with an orange gold rainwing sitting cheerfully on top of her, wrapping vines around her snout. Another rainwing materialized slowly in front of him, her scales changing color so she no longer blended into the background. "You're my prisoner!" she cried. "Run for your life!" "Mango! You can't just yell things at random," said a familiar voice. Tsunami dropped down from one of the branches, frowning. "Try to think about what comes out of your Starflight!" She interrupted herself with a cry of joy. At the same time, another dragon cannoned out of the foliage and crashed right into Starflight. Starflight found himself circled by strong brown wings as Clay nearly flung him into the treetops with delight. "You escaped!" Tsunami yelled, elbowing Clay so she could wrap Starflight in her own blue wings. "That's unbelievable! How? 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 How?" "I'll tell you everything, but I have to see Glory right away," Starflight said. He glanced around, hoping Sunny was also concealed in the bushes, but she didn't appear. He turned to Flame, who had collapsed unconscious. "And this Skywing needs the cactus we got from the desert. He's been slashed by a sandwing tail." "Oh, poor guy," Clay said, crouching beside Flame's inert form. The Mudwing gently lifted Flame's snout and peered at the wound. He waved to the trees, and 6 more rainwings popped into sight. In minutes, they had produced a kind of hammock net, which they tucked around Flame so they could carry him off toward the village. "To the healers, as fast as you can," Clay told them. "Glory told us everything you said in her dream, which, by the way, is crazy. Visiting a dragon's dreams," Tsunami said to Starflight, winding her tail around his. "Well, except she didn't tell me about the stealth rainwing bodyguards she put on me." That was pretty hilarious. Everyone should suddenly have the air. Wait, she's still talking. "Well, except that she didn't tell me about the stealth raining bodyguards she put on me. That was pretty hilarious. Everyone should suddenly have the air turn into 7 bright purple dragons yelling hysterically whenever she gets attacked." "Yeah, I wouldn't have minded something like that," Starflight said. The sunlight felt as if it was melting through his scales, chasing away all the darkness that had started to gather around his soul. "You just got the moonshine out of those nightwings. It was amazing." "Who's that?" Clay asked, nodding at Fate Speaker. "She's my friend," Starflight said, realizing guiltily that she was still gagged. "You can trust her. Her name is Fate Speaker. She's the alternate Nightwing I told Glory about." Tsunami signaled to the Rainwing to let her up, and Fate Speaker came bounding over to them, unwrapping the vines from his snout. Hi! This is the most beautiful place I've ever seen," she said as soon as she could talk. "I've never even had a vision of somewhere this pretty. No wonder the Nightwings want to live here." She seized Clay's front talons and shook them vigorously. "What's edible? I haven't eaten in days. You wouldn't believe how hungry I am." Starflight felt his own empty stomach twist as she chattered on, but it was much more than food that was worrying him. War was coming to this peaceful rainforest, no matter what anyone tried to do to stop it. After tonight, would it be so beautiful? He remembered some of the awful things he and his friends had seen since leaving the caves. The violence in the Sky Palace arena, the dead mudwings lying broken in the swamp, the panicked sea wings crushing one another as they tried to escape the firebombs when the summer palace was attacked. It was hard to imagine any of that here. Hard to imagine anyone burning these trees or hurting these harmless, happy-go-lucky dragons. But Starflight had seen the cruelty of Nightwings, and he knew how desperate they were for a new home. He believed they'd do anything, no matter how awful, to escape the volcanic island. Fate Speaker was eating ravenously from a pile of fruit Clay had offered her, but Starflight didn't think he could possibly eat until he felt that his friends were safe. Although that might be never, he realized ruefully. I have to see Glory now, he said to Tsunami. The Nightwings are planning to attack tonight. She gasped, and the trees around her all gasped at the same time. Tsunami turned to frown at the apparently empty branches. I told you all to go back to the village, she said. I don't need a bodyguard. I can take care of myself. Nobody answered. Tsunami sighed. You've never seen instant loyalty like these Rainwings have for Queen Glory, she said to Starflight. Don't even try to convince them to disobey her. That's never going to happen. That's great, Starflight said, pleased. At least one of us is fitting into her tribe. For her war strategy, yes, Tsunami said. For the size of her head, no. She waved over the Rainwing who had been sitting on Fate Speaker. Fate Speaker eyed him warily, but his tangerine orange face was cheerful and extremely non-threatening. Take these Nightwings to the Queen, Tsunami said. Clay and I have to stay on guard here. She explained to Nightwing. She explained to Starflight. Especially on a really sunny day like this. I'm afraid Rainwings have a tendency to fall asleep all over the place. Sure, Starflight said. If there's any battle planning, I want to be involved, Tsunami added fiercely. Of course, Starflight said, spreading his wings. How long did they have until dark? Would the Nightwings even wait until midnight once they realized Starflight had come through? Surely Morosia would guess that Starflight would warn his friends. What if that spurred them to attack sooner? They might invade at any moment. They might even be on their way right now. He cast a worried look back at the hole. Be careful, he said to Tsunami. I'm ready for them, she said. Don't worry. She curled her claws menacingly. Starflight and Fate Speaker followed the orange-gold Rainwing up into the treetops, where there was even more sunlight. Fate Speaker ducked as a flock of tiny purple birds exploded past her head. She kept twisting to watch the shimmering azure butterflies that flitted by, and when she startled a large spotted jungle cat, he nearly fell off the branch where he was sleeping. I can't get over how amazing this place is, she said to Starflight. The Rainwing village is really cool too, he said. It makes me feel sad for the Nightwings, Fate Speaker tilted her head to catch more sunlight on her snout. I mean, what if they had grown up somewhere like this? Would they still be the way they are? Or would they be happy and kind, like the Rainwings? It's not their fault they hatched in such a miserable place. Maybe they could have been good, or at least better, if they'd lived somewhere else. Maybe, Starflight said. In fact, probably. But I think being a good dragon is about the choices you make, no matter where you are, or who raised you, or how. The Nightwings chose to kidnap and torture Rainwings. That makes it hard for me to feel sorry for them. True, Fate Speaker said, and lapsed into uncharacteristic silence for the rest of the flight. The orange Rainwing led them to a tree house that matched the one in the dream Starflight had stepped into. The walls were mostly open to the outside, letting sunshine and fresh air pour in, and Glory stood behind a wooden desk, although there were no scrolls in front of her in real life. 3 small Rainwings were lined up before her in varying shades of green, apparently relaying reports from around the forest. Glory saw Starflight coming and flared her wings. Starflight! She cried joyfully. She jabbed her own forearm with one of her claws. I'm not dreaming. You're really here. He landed beside her. We found a way out, Fate Speaker and I. This is Fate Speaker, because I had to come warn you, he said. His eyes drifted to the trees around them, where sunny. Teaching a dragonette class how to read, or helping the healers with webs, I think. Glory said, waving her claws. Warn me about what? The Nightwings are planning to attack you tonight at midnight, Starflight said. Maybe sooner if they figure out where I've gone and why. Tonight? Glory rubbed her front talons over her head. Go get me Mangrove, she said to one of the small Rainwings. And you, find Grander. The 2 of them nodded and flew off in a hurry. I have some ideas for defense, Starflight started. I hope one of those ideas is attack them first, Glory said, because that's my plan. She glanced out the window at the position of the sun in the sky. I can get my army ready to fly in an hour. Sure, organizing rain wings, no problem. It's only roughly as hard as getting 100 butterflies to fly in a straight line. Starflight? A glimmer of gold scales flashed in the corner of his eye, and Starflight felt his whole body fill with light as he turned around and came face to face with Sunny. End of chapter 22. Okay. Okay, I actually got really happy when I read that. Like, oh my gosh! Yes! Finally! They interact from his point of view. Oh. Oh my gosh! Okay. Ow! My leg hurt. I shouldn't sit in this position, yet I do. I don't know why. Ugh. I'm reading ahead, and I am so sorry again. And would you shut up, chickens? I'm streaming. Chapter 23. Sunny spread her warm golden wings, and Starflight fitted his own wings around hers for a hug. It always felt like exactly where he should be, even if it was just for a moment. I'm so glad you're okay, all right, she said, stepping back and examining him for injuries. I was checking on webs, and then this skywing came in, and of all things, and I was showing the healers how to get the cactus milk into his wound when someone said 2 nightwings brought him in, and I knew it must be you. You know, I wanted to go through and find you, but Glory said no. She wrinkled her snout at the new queen. Glory was right. It's too dangerous there, Starflight said. Oh, please. Where have you been lately that where have we been lately that isn't dangerous? Sunny said. All the more reason we should go rescue you. Although I wasn't really worried because of course you had to be fine so we could fulfill your prophecy, right? And look, you rescued yourself, which is so impressive. Starflight guessed that the grin on his own face was probably a little goofy, but he couldn't seem to squelch it. And you are? Fate Speaker interjected, clearing her throat and and settling so close to Starflight that she bumped one of her wings. I'm Sunny, said the little sandwing. She tilted her head at Fate Speaker. Wow, your silver scales are so cool. That one looks like a bracelet. Like you were born with your own treasure. Fate Speaker's wings relaxed a little. She held out one of her talons to peer at the anklet of Starbright scales. I never thought of it like that. I was about to say your scales are a great color. All the sandwings I've met were sort of pale and dusty looking. I know, I'm weird, Sunny said agreeably. You're the alternate Nightwing, right? Glory said Starflight had lots of nice things to say about you. Fate Speaker gave Starflight a delighted look that made him unaccountably nervous. What was it like growing up in the Talents of Peace camp? So bizarre, Fate Speaker said, folding her wings and leaning towards Sunny. We were always moving so no one could find us, and everyone talked about peace, but it seemed like all we were doing was avoiding soldiers and waiting for the prophecy to come true. It must have been amazing to live with so many dragons from different tribes, Sunny said, her eyes shining. You'd get to see what really makes them different, and the ways they're all same too. I was thinking about that, Fate Speaker said. I was the only Nightwing, so I was always trying to figure out which other tribe I was most like. But you could find something in common with all of them. Sunny guessed. Exactly! Alright, Glory interrupted. As strangely adorable as you two are, I need you to either go away and discover your twin souls somewhere else, or focus on battle planning with me. Battle planning, Fatespeaker and Sunny said simultaneously. Glory gave Starflight an odd, somewhat amused look, and he shifted uncomfortably, although he wasn't sure why. He liked that Fatespeaker and Sunny liked each other, but it also made him weirdly uneasy. Oh no, is she also developing a crush on Fatespeaker? Ooh! And I mean, they really like each other. So they'd be a good polyamorous couple. Throuple. Isn't that what it's called? They'd be a good polyamorous throuple. Polythrouple. Luckily, at that moment, Mangrove arrived with the elegant older dragon Starflight had seen in Kaju's dream. Let's take this mealing to the tunnel, Glory said. I need Tsunami's and Clay's input too. She gathered her wings and soared off the balcony into the trees. Fatespeaker and Sunny went next, talking to each other as they flew. Starflight followed, trying to keep his mind on the impending attack. Only a few minutes of sunshine and fresh air, and he was already finding it hard to believe what he'd gone through on the Nightwing Island, or that an army of angry dragons was preparing to destroy all of this before the next sunshine. Once they were all gathered, within sight of the tunnel, but out of hearing distance to be safe, Glory had Starflight explain everything he'd heard in the council chamber. So, at least some of them are afraid of us, she said when he finished. I'd say most of them, Starflight said. I mean, I think that's the whole reason they've been kidnapping Rainwings and studying them, and why they haven't attacked before. They're terrified of your venom. Glory showed her teeth and hissed, They should be. Yours, maybe, Tsunami said, but the rest of these dragons, I really can't guarantee that any of them will use it on another dragon, even if it's in life or death situation. They've been told their whole lives to never ever use it as a weapon. I've done my best, but you try changing an entire tribal philosophy of lives in 3 days. I know, Glory said, starting to pace. Which I'm not even sure we should, Sunny interjected. I like their philosophy. I could do it, Grander said. Attack another dragon with my venom. I mean, for the sake of my tribe, but I agree that the others would have trouble. She glanced at Mangrove. I'd try, he said, for Orchid. Is she really still alive? He asked Starflight. And waiting for you, Fatespeaker said. Starflight told her you were looking for her, and she said she'd survive until you came. A faint wave of pink rippled across Mangrove's scales. I'm worried about attacking first, Clay said. We'd have to come out of the other end one at a time. If they're smart, they'll be waiting, and then they can pick us off one by one. But if we wait here and let them attack, we could do that to them instead. We'd be in the stronger position. I don't want them in my rainforest, Glory snapped. If they think they're losing, they'll set the whole place on fire just to be horrible. Besides, we have to go there to rescue the Rainwings. Even if we drive back their attack, we'd still have to go through at some point, and we'll have wasted resources on our defense. No, we go to them first. We just have to find a way to get everyone past the guards at the entrance. I have an idea, Sunny said. Changing your scales will help, Tsunami said at the same time. They won't see the Rainwings coming along the tunnel if you're all camouflaged. Then maybe we burst out and start attacking and hope we've surprised them. Doubtful, Starflight said. Once Morosia figures out I went through, they'll be on high alert at the tunnel opening. I think it's a good idea, said Sunny. The one I have, I mean. We need to choose the bravest Rainwings for the first wave, Glory said. Tsunami, I want you to make a list for me, based on what you've noticed during training. Tsunami snorted. brave list. I might be asking a lot. You can have a less sleepy than the others list. One does not speak to a queen that way of her citizens. One does not speak to a queen that way of her citizens, Glory said in mock haughtiness. Then lapsed back into her regular voice. Anyway, I think the Rainwings will surprise you. I've been meeting them all, one by one, as fast as I can, and they're a lot more complicated than they seem. Doesn't anyone want to hear my idea? Sunny asked. I do, said Starflight, but Glory was already speaking to Mangrove. We have to make sure that we pair up related Rainwings in each squadron, so there's always someone to counteract the venom if there's an accident. I know Sunny's been taking notes on that, so make sure we use her chart when we form the squadrons. With a stab of jealousy, Starflight saw Sunny lean toward Clay and whisper in his ear. Sometimes it seemed to him as though Sunny and Clay were always together, like the Mudwing was the one she could trust more than any other dragon. He wished he could be that for her instead, but he wasn't anything like Clay, and the truth was, if he had to choose someone to trust with his life, he'd pick Clay over himself as well. I don't know how to prepare them to fight Nightwing's fire, Tsunami said, a little hopelessly. Most of these dragons have never even seen fire. They'll probably think it's shiny and pretty and try to touch it. Glory coiled her tail and stared at the sky through the trees. Starflight guessed from her expression that she was thinking about how Rainwings were going to die. There was no way to avoid it. Becoming queen of an entire tribe all of a sudden was hard enough, but leading dragons into battle, especially woefully underprepared dragons, was something none of the dragonettes knew anything about or ever wanted to. I'm reading ahead, I'm sorry. We wanted to stop the war, not start a whole new one. Do the Rainwings have any chance against the armor-clad, fiercely desperate, violently unhappy Nightwings? Are we all going to die today? We're only dragonettes. We shouldn't be leading anyone to their deaths. But this is happening no matter what we do. We have no choice now. I tried to draw a map of what I could remember of the island, Glory said to Starflight. I want you to fill in as much details as you can. I guess we should have several dragons go straight to the prison caves and try to free the trapped Rainwings. Queen Splendor is inside the fortress, Starflight said, in the same dungeon as Deathbringer. Oh, Glory said, and several colors shifted across her scales at once. So another wing should go in there. Maybe Tsunami can lead that group. Sleeping darts! Clay yelled suddenly, making everyone jump. Glory stared at him. What? Those sleeping darts the Rainwings used to knock us out when we first got to the rainforest, Clay said. He nudged Sunny forward. Sunny says the healers have hundreds of them. The Rainwings use them all the time. They play this game where they try to sneak up on each other before getting shot. That's true, Mangrove said, lashing his tail. And we can take turn patrolling so we can shoot strange dragons who come into the rainforest. Like you five, which is even more fun. Every Rainwing already has a blowgun, Sunny said. Arm them all with as many sleeping darts as they can carry, and use those instead of fighting. That's it! Glory flared her wings, turning dark purple with lightning bolts of excited gold all along her scales. That's exactly how Rainwings should fight. It was Sunny's idea, Clay said, nodding down at the sandwing. Maybe we can do this without casualties, Glory said, animatedly. Clay and Sunny, you're in charge of arming the Rainwings. Get all the sleeping darts you can find. Mangrove, Grander, it's time to tell the village. Everyone who's willing to fight, meet by the stream here in 1 hour. We're doing this before nightfall. She turned to Starflight as the others flew off. Let's review the map. Tell me everything you know. Tsunami unrolled a giant leaf with a sketchy map of the Nightwing Island marked out on it in some kind of dark fruit ink. War is coming. There's no time to be scared, Starflight told himself as he leaned over the map. You can't be the most cowardly dragon in Imperia right now. Remember, you've read all the history scrolls you could find about famous battles. Now use that knowledge. It's time to prove that you really do belong in this prophecy. End of chapter 23. 2 chapters to go! And my legs hurt again. So, what was his name actually? Tsunami and Riptide. Ship. Glory and Deathbringer. Ship. Starflight, Sunny and Clay. Another ship. Well then. Chapter 24. 2 hours later, Queen Glory's army was on the move. The sun was just starting to sink below the trees. It wasn't dark here yet, but it would be soon. Starflight dug his claws into the mud by the stream, trying to beat down his terror. The clearing bustled with activity, and it was unsettling activity because most of the gathered dragons were essentially invisible, carefully camouflaged against the background. Starflight kept bumping and jostling by what appeared to be empty air. Tsunami was trying to make all the Rainwings face her and shut up so she could give them a rousing battle speech. Right. The fact that this was proving difficult did not bode well for the overall attack, Starflight thought anxiously. Starflight, Glory said, materializing beside him. Her scales shimmered from dark green to a sort of worried-looking pale blue and back. Are you alright? I guess, Starflight said. He shifted from one foot to another. Nervous? Do you want to stay here? She asked him quietly. I'd understand if you do. No, Starflight said. I shouldn't. I can't. He glanced at Sunny, who was sorting piles of sleeping dart into little bags that could go over the Rainwings' necks. She had none of the weapons other dragons had. No venom, no camouflage, no fireproof scales like Clay, but even the poisonous tail barb a Sandwing should have. He'd never let her go off to a battle without him. Stay behind while his friends threw themselves into danger. How could she ever love him if he made that choice? I promise I won't be scared. It's normal to be scared, Glory said. I'm scared. You'd have to be crazy not to be. Well, crazy or Tsunami, which is basically the same thing. You just have to push that aside and do what you have to anyway. But do you want to stay here because we're going to fight your tribe? If it's too much to ask, I understand if you want to sit this one out. They're not my tribe, Starflight said. You are. You and Tsunami and Sunny and Clay. Oh, you big sap, she said, but her wings tips went all rose-colored, and he knew Glory felt the same way, even if she'd never say it out loud. All right, she said, punching his shoulder, a rare gesture of physical affection from her. Let's go change the world. She bounded to the tunnel opening and summoned the first wave of Rainwings with a flick of her tail. They huddled, listening to her orders. Starflight looked around at Sunny again. I might die today. What if she never knows? What if I die without ever telling her how I feel? He lifted his face toward the setting sun. He'd bluffed the Nightwing guards. He'd escaped from the Nightwing Island. Surely he could say 3 words to one dragon. When he looked looked down again. Sunny was right in front of him. His hat seized as though someone had wrapped fierce talons around it. "I'm going to be all right," she said to him. She told him, shaking out her wings. "Just think of the prophecy. We have to be alive to stop the war, right? So we can't die today. Isn't that comforting?" "I wish I had your optimism," he said. "It's not optimism," she objected. "It's faith. There's a reason we're here. What we do today is part of it, but there's more too, and we have to survive and make it all happen." Oh no! I'm going to cry! His smile made him feel as if lightning were cracking under his scales. "Sonny," he said hesitantly, "there's something I wanted to tell you for a long time." "I'm listening," she said, tilting her head. Across the clearing, Glory was flaring her wings and waiting for silence. It was now or possibly never, depending on what happened today. "My gosh! I love you!" he blurted. Sonny blinked and then blinked for a few more times. I love you too, Starflight." "No," he said. I mean, you're all I think about, and I want to be near you, and it hurts when I'm not. And everything I do, I think, what would Sonny want me to do? And I think you're the only dragon who sees me the whole way I am and likes me anyway." Oh no! I'm going to cry! Oh! He thought uncomfortably of Fate Speaker and spotted her at the same time across the clearing near Glory. Oh my god! Oh yeah, him! Wait, why did I say Clay? No, not Clay! Clay's not. It's Fate Speaker. Starflight, Fate Speaker, and Sunny. That's the throuple. That's another ship. He thought uncomfortably of Face Speaker and spotted her at the same time across the clearing near Glory, watching the Rainwing Queen with her eyes wide and her head upturned. But his feelings for her and his feelings for Sunny, well, they couldn't be the same. They can! Come on! They can! "And I had to tell you," he hurried on, "in case something happens to either one of us today. Although, if anything happens to you, I don't know how I'd be able to breathe or think or do anything ever again." "Oh my gosh, Starflight, stop," Sunny said in a rush. "This, right now, how can I say anything, let alone the right thing? When everything..." She spread her wings helplessly, indicating the mob of rainwings around them. "It's all right," Starflight said, and realized that he meant it. "Don't say anything. You don't have to. I just wanted you to know, just in case." She wrinkled her forehead, as if that didn't seem right to her, but he twined his tail around hers and looked down at their talons, sinking into the riverbank. "Just promise me you'll be safe," he said. "I hardly get to do anything in this battle," she said fiercely. "You promise me you'll be safe." He opened and closed his mouth, wishing he could promise that and mean it. "Exactly," she said. "So stop talking like a scroll and just tell me you'll see me soon, okay?" "I'll see you soon," he said, and for a moment her certainty made him believe it too. "Good luck. Kick a Nightwing for me," she said as Starflight stepped away, and then she pulled him back for a quick hug, and a moment later he found himself walking over to Glory, his mind a daze. He told her! "I did it. I told her, and the world didn't collapse." The Queen of the Rainwings flared her wings one more time, and the clearing finally fell silent. "You know, I don't like giving speeches," Glory said, "so I'll just say this. We're going to save our fellow Rainwings, and we're going to make this rainforest safe, and we're going to do it like real Rainwings. And by the 3 moons, try not to talk or sneeze or sleep in the tunnel on the way there, alright?" She turned to the dragon next to her. It took Starflight a moment to recognize Glory's brother, Jambu. He wasn't his usual vibrant raspberry color, but a rippling shadowy black that would blend in well with the tunnel walls. He was apparently one of the best shots with a blowgun, and he'd volunteered to be the first one through the hole. Starflight wasn't sure if that was bravery or just not knowing what he was getting himself into, but right now it amounted to the same thing. Jambu jumped in the hole and slid in. Glory followed immediately behind him, and then Mangrove, Liana, Grander, and three other rainwings armed with blowguns. According to the plan, Starflight and Fatespeaker were next, so that the guards were knocked out, they could lead so that once the guards were knocked out, they could lead the rainwings to the prison caves and the fortress. He took a deep breath and looked back, hoping to catch Sunny's eye. She was watching him, her scales glowing in the fading sunlight. I can do this. Starflight clambered into the hole, and almost immediately Fatespeaker followed, nearly stepping on his tail. Neither of them said anything, but he felt a little safer knowing she was at his back. It was stifling in the tunnel, an eerie quiet. The rain wings ahead of him were stealthier than he'd ever expected. He wasn't sure how far ahead they were exactly. Even with his excellent night vision, Starflight couldn't make out the difference between shadows in here. The tunnel tilted down, and he crept along as fast as he dared, keeping his wings carefully folded to hide his silver scales. Ahead of him, he heard a quiet "tsk," and then another, and then 7 more in rapid succession. Sleeping darts fired from blowguns straight out of the shadows, hopefully knocking out all the guards by the hole before any of them noticed and sounded the alarm. Next, Starflight heard a muffled thump as one rainwing after another jumped into the cave, and then he saw the flicker of firelight. A moment later, he climbed out of the tunnel and felt the warm rocks scraping below his scales. 9 Nightwing guards were lying around the cave, each looking as if he or she had just fallen asleep all of a sudden. Their chests rose and fell peacefully. Their spears rested humpily on the ground nearby. Glory turned to Mangrove and pointed at the spears. She made some kind of signal Starflight didn't follow, but Mangrove apparently did. He started gathering all their weapons in the cave and passed them to the dragons still coming through the tunnel. They were handed back talon over talon until they were safely stashed in the rainforest, far away from Nightwing claws. The Nightwings are still dangerous. We can't take away their talons of teeth of fire, but one less weapon in a Nightwing's claws can't hurt. Jambu and Grander had already crept ahead. If he strained his ears, Starflight could hear the st of the blowguns taking out the guards by the cave entrance. How long was this going to work? How many Nightwings could they send to sleep before somebody noticed? And once somebody sounded the alarm, how soon before rainwings started dying? All clear, Grander whispered along the tunnel like leaves rustling. Glory's scales had shifted to gray and red and black to match the cave. Starflight couldn't see her, but he felt her wings lightly brush his. It was his turn to lead the way. He glanced back at the hole that led to the rainforest. Tsunami and Clay and Sunny were supposed to stay out of sight during the first wave. If anyone spotted blue or brown or gold scales on the island, they'd know the tunnel had been breached by the Nightwings, and the Nightwings would be on all... Oh, I'm gonna try that again. If anyone spotted blue or brown or gold scales on the island, they'd know the tunnel had been breached, and the Nightwings could be on them all immediately. So they were to stay hidden until the stealth campaign turned into real battle. On one talon, Starflight was relieved that he didn't have to worry about Sunny, but on the other, he'd feel a lot better if Clay and Tsunami were leading the charge instead of him. But this is a smart way to do it, and the only way to do it. He padded down the tunnel with Fatespeaker behind him, stepping over the slumbering Nightwing guards. He could hear the sound of the ocean waves crashing on the black sand below. Outside, the sky was even more gray and ominous than before, with grim, lowering clouds lowering blah, blah, with gla- tight to Ian, with grim lowering clouds that flickered with lightning, all lit by the red glow from the volcano. After the bright warmth of the rainforest, the island air seemed even darker and smokier. As Starlight stepped out of the cave ledge, he felt the ground tremble beneath his talons, then stop. That's unsettling, he thought. What a nightmare, Miranda's voice whispered behind him. It's worse than I expected, said Jambu. How can anyone live here? You carry this, Glory said, handing Starlight one of the god's spears. We might need it, and it looks less weird in your claws. If I hold it, it'll look like it's just flying around through the air by itself. Starlight nodded, although the weight of the spear felt extremely strange in his talons. It was more likely that he'd accidentally poke his own eye out than that he'd be able to use this to fight. He tried to hold it as far away from himself as possible as he lifted it into the air. Take us to the prison caves first, Glory's voice said from the air beside him. Once Mangrove and the others are set up to free the prisoners, you and I can head to the fortress. You? Starlight said. It was oddly not being able to see her. He felt as if he were arguing with the air. That's the most dangerous part. As the queen, shouldn't you keep yourself safe? You can send someone else for splendor. He tilted his wings to soar toward the prison caves and the lava river. He could feel the air currents shifting around him as several invisible dragons flew alongside. He wasn't sure how many rain wings were following him, but he hoped none of the night wings would hear the wing beats and get suspicious. There were very few night wings in sight, one or two on the balconies of the fortress, plus the guards in the cave entrance below. Starlight guessed that the rest were assembling in preparation for their planned attack tonight. I'm not going to be the kind of queen who sends other dragons into danger that I'm not willing to face myself, Glory said. And even if I could send someone for splendor, I can't send anyone else to face Battle Winner. Oh dear, she's going to fight Battle Winner? Starlight sucked in a surprised breath. Battle Winner? He said. Is that a good idea? Weren't you the ones who suggested diplomacy? Glory said, and he could hear amusement in her voice. Yes, but that was before I knew anything about the Nightwings. Rescuing the prisoners is the top priority, she went on, but if I can threaten her somehow, maybe if I tell her I'll expose a secret, perhaps I can get her to leave us and the rainforest alone from now on. I doubt it, Fate Speaker said. The Nightwings really want your rainforest. Well, too bad, Glory snapped. Shh, Starlight said. They were approaching the first prison cave. He dipped his head toward it and felt a whoosh of wind as one of the rain wings dove past him. A moment later, the two guards in the cave entrance both reached for their necks, looking confused, and then, in slow motion, they crumbled into slumbering heaps. We're lucky the caves line the river, Starlight said, circling around the sky. The guards at each entrance can't see any of the others get knocked out. He saw the guards in the next cave collapse to the ground, and then the next and the next. The rain wings were fanning out, following instructions Glory had given them before leaving the rainforest. He saw a shimmer of scales and teeth here and there as the rain wings landed in pairs, shifted color, and darted into the prison caves. You said you saw Orchid in one of these caves, Glory said to Fate Speaker. Do you remember which one? Fate Speaker nodded and twisted into a dive, aiming for one of the caves closest to the fortress. As they approached, its two guards looked up, although all they could see were two Nightwing dragonettes. One of them frowned a little, as if he sensed something was amiss. Starlight's stomach lurched as the guard reached for the gong that would summon the rest of the tribe. Then the air beside Starlight's ear went and the two guards wobbled and went down. That was close, Starflight said. But after a moment, he realized that he was talking to empty air. Below him, the two gods were dragged aside. As he landed, he heard the thump of talons hurrying to the back of the cave. I want to see this, Fate Speaker whispered, darting inside. Starflight followed, just in time to see Mangrove appear in front of Orchid, his grey and black scales shifting all at once to a joyful pink, shot through with worried green. Orchid let out a cry of joy that was muffled by the iron muscle around her jaws. She reached toward Mangrove, and he leaped for her, wrapping his wings all the way around her and twining his tail with hers. I'm here, he said. I wouldn't give up. I'd never give up on you. She couldn't speak, but the rose colors and orchid scales said everything. Let's get her out of here as fast as we can, Glory said. If they're all chained to the wall like this, we have extra work to do. Starflight, give me that spear. Starflight held the spear out, and it was whisked away from him. A glory-shaped shadow approached Orchid and carefully struck the points of the spear into the lock on the mouth band. Liana, Grander, are you paying attention? Glory asked. Yes, two voices said from the air. Starflight jumped. He hadn't realized the other two rain wings were with them. This is how you undo the locks, Glory said, twisting the spear. The muzzle fell off with a clank, and Glory set to work on the chains that bound Orchid to the wall. I was afraid you wouldn't care where I was, Orchid said to Mangrove. I thought you'd move on and find someone else. Never, 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 Mangrove said fiercely. Do you feel the earth shaking? Orchid said. I think that's me, Mangrove said, holding out his trembling claws, like all this happiness inside us is trying to burst out. Actually, I'm pretty sure that was a real earthquake, Starflight thought. He felt the tremor in the earth as well, rumbling up through his talons before it stopped. Done, Glory said, and the spear moved through the air as she handed it to one of the other rain wings. Orchid shook off the loose chains and spread her wings, beaming and glowing like a ball of pink sunshine. Orchid, this is our new queen, Glory, said Mangrove. She's the reason we found you, and she's the dragon who convinced everyone to come get you. It was really thanks to Mangrove, Glory said. He's the one who knew you were missing, and wouldn't shut up about it. If we hadn't brought an army to save you, he'd have come over here and done it himself. Thank you, Your Majesty, Orchid said with a half bow. That is too weird, Starflight whispered to Fate Speaker. You're my friend called Your Majesty. I bet watching her lead an invasion is fairly strange, too, Fate Speaker whispered back. Grander, Liana, disguise yourselves as night wings, take the gods' spears, and go to the other caves, Glory ordered. Show everyone how to free the prisoners. Move as quickly and quietly as you can. Then get everyone back to the tunnel. The most important thing is getting all 14 prisoners home safe. Mangrove, you and Orchid take a moment to calm your skills down, and then you can head back to the rainforest too. I should come with you, Mangrove said. If you're going to the fortress, you'll need backup. I have it, Glory said. I hope she doesn't mean me, Starflight thought anxiously. But we went to a lot of trouble to reunite you and Orchid. So go be happy with her for a little while. We'll let you know if we need you. Mangrove and Orchid both bowed. Wings brushed against Starflight's shoulder, and he started back for a moment before he realized it was Glory, heading up the tunnel to the lava river. Come on, Starflight, she said from the darkness. Let's go have a talk with the Nightwing Queen. End of chapter 25, and my legs hurt. My thighs hurt. I am wearing shorts, by the way, so just letting you all know. I'm dumb into lesbian. Me wearing this have my hair like this. People are like, oh, okay, they got girls in their room. Oh, okay. Dumb Moon's a lesbian. Sorry. Okay, last chapter of the day. I'm excited! Like, Starlight told Sunny he loves her. Like, ah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm like, oh my gosh. This is going to be intense. There's only one chapter left. I have a feeling we're gonna be left on a cliffhanger. I'm gonna see Play Fem Shu Ni Elve. Ooh! 32 pages! Oh! I have a feeling it's gonna end in a cliffhanger. Sorry! But then tomorrow we'll figure it all out. Unless the last chapter of the book also ends in a cliffhanger. Then you'll have to wait again. I can see my dad and my older brother going around outside. They can probably hear me. Hi! Anyway, I'm excited. It's been a while since I've been this excited about reading. Maybe it's because I literally went through the whole book with Starlight just pining over Sunny, and like they're just please just get together already. Please just tell her already, okay? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm excited, okay? Chapter 25. You can probably tell from the way I'm speed reading this, basically. Like, really hurrying through it and, like... The fortress seemed eerily quiet as they flew toward it. The air felt thick and with ashy smoke. Starlight's nose and throat hurt even worse than before, and occasionally he heard Glory and Fate Speaker coughing behind him. He rubbed his stinging eyes and stared at the fortress ahead, wondering where an entire Nightwing army would assemble. Queen Battlewinnow wouldn't be able to lead it, since she couldn't leave the lava. Greatness would have to really make some queenly decisions if she was planning to lead the attack. Had Starlight's absence been noticed yet? If not, surely at least Marozia would have gone to check on Flame and found him missing. How had he reacted? Maybe he'll think Flame tried to fly home to the continent. Starlight thought. We'd be in luck if Marozia tried to follow him. He really did not want to encounter Marozia in the halls of the fortress. Please tell me there's an invisible army with us, Starlight said. I'm your invisible army, Glory said cheerfully. I'm serious, Starlight said. We shouldn't go in there alone, just the three of us. Tell me something, Glory said. Dungeons you saw. How do we get them open? Will those spears work on the doors, or do we need keys? Starlight closed his eyes for a moment, picturing the dungeon. We need keys, I think, he said. So let's start with the Queen, Glory said. We'll make her tell us where to find the keys. Starlight could not imagine making Battlewinner do anything at all, but then Glory was a lot more persuasive than he was, and even more so now that he had a queen's authority. Now that she had a queen's authority. He swerved it down toward the entrance closest to the council chamber. The three of them padded silently through the hallways. Loud voices rang out from a few of the rooms. Starlight caught snippets of an argument about who would get to wear some shared armor, a monologue about another battle the storyteller had been in, and a conversation about how killing Rainwings would have been easier than killing Mudwings. He'd forgotten all about the dead Mudwings on the rainforest border. Why would the Nightwings kill them? He asked himself, and almost immediately a possible answer came to him. To keep the Mudwings out of the rainforest. Okay, now that's answered. Now that question is answered. I've been asking myself, why the hell have they been killing random Mudwings? Why? That just doesn't make any sense, but now it makes sense to keep them out of the rainforest. If they believe there's a deadly monster lurking in there, that it's not safe to go anywhere near it, they won't be tempted to conquer the rainforest themselves, leaving it untouched and ready for the Nightwings to move in any time. That explains the howler monkeys too. You remember Jambu saying that the monkeys used to make a normal monkey sound, but then suddenly they started screaming like dying dragons instead. I bet my dad is responsible for that. I bet he did something to the monkeys so their screams would scare the mudwings away. Everything the Nightwings did was part of their grand plan of taking over the rainforest. Starflight sighed and glanced at the map as he led the way into the room with the secret entrance. If only there was somewhere else the Nightwings could go, but they'd clearly been all over Pyria, destroying scavenger dens for whatever reason. If there had been somewhere else for them to live, surely they would have found it. Someone's coming, Glory whispered, a heartbeat before Starflight heard claws tapping on stone and smelled the rank odor of Nightwing breath. Fatespeaker shot across the room to the map, but before she could lift the corner and duck underneath, Scales slithered in the doorway, and they all whirled to see Greatness staring at them. The ground rumbled under their feet. "What are you doing here?" the Nightwing Princess asked. Her glittering diamond necklace was askew, as if she'd slept in it and forgotten it was on. Her eyes looked exhausted, red and raw from the smoke in the air. "Why aren't you with the others?" "We got lost?" Starflight tried. Greatness squinted at them. "Oh, you're the two little prophecy dragonets. Marozia was looking for you in quite a towering rage earlier. Listen, like I told him, the prophecy is important, but it's even more important that we win this battle tonight. So the whole tribe is going, and no exceptions. Everyone else is in the Great Hall. If you follow this tunnel down and take the fourth left, you'll be halfway there, and someone can guide you." "What about you?" Fatespeaker asked. "Why aren't you there?" "I'm going to speak with the Queen first," Greatness said. Her eyes darted involuntarily to the map. "Actually," Gloria said from the air, "we're all going to speak with the Queen." Greatness stiffened and pulled in her wings. Starflight saw a flash of scales change color as Glory's claws rested on the artistry of the Nightwing throat. On the artery of the Nightwing's throat. "Don't call for help," Glory said. "I'm not an ordinary rainwing. My venom is aimed at your eyes right now, and I am not afraid to use it." "The dangerous one," Greatness whispered. "That's right," Glory said. "Now we're all going to the hidden tunnel to the Queen, and you're leading the way, and you're going to keep in mind that my fangs are right behind you." Greatness blinked and nodded several times, looking queasy. She hurried to the map and dug into the tunnel. A rustle of wings indicated that Glory had followed her. Fatespeaker and Starflight were right behind them. The rocky floor felt hot under Starflight's talons, hotter than it had before. Another rumble shook the mountains as they pressed forward. Starflight said as a horrifying thought struck him. "There's no chance this volcano is about to erupt, is there?" Up ahead in the shadows, the bulky figure of Greatness paused and looked back. "It shouldn't," she said. "Our scientists predicted that we would have at least 2 more years before another major eruption." "How can they be sure?" Fatespeaker said. "Did someone have a vision?" Greatness turned around and kept walking without answering. Starflight braced himself against another tremble in the ground. "I don't like the feeling in the air," he whispered to Fatespeaker. "I don't know much about volcanoes, but I'm pretty sure it's a bad sign when they start doing this." "Poor Nightwings," Fatespeaker said softly. Said Starflight. "More like poor us if we don't get out of here soon." They abruptly came around the bend into the Queen's cave. Queen Battlewinner was sitting erect in the boiling lava cauldron, glaring at them with fierce eyes that reflected the red light around them. Starflight inhaled sharply as he spotted another dragon in the back corner of the cave. His father, Mastermind. The scientist was fussing over several hunks of metal on the floor, and after a moment, Starflight remembered seeing them in the lab. All put together, they looked like a suit of armor that would fit over an entire dragon, with room to pour something in between the dragon's scales and the metal. Lava, he realized. That's how Battlewinger plans to get to the rainforest. Mastermind has been building her a portable lava device. His brain immediately started taking apart the science of the idea. But how would it stay hot, away from the volcano? Can any metal really contain it? He also realized, tangentially, that his father had lied about not seeing the queen. He must be one of the few dragons who knew her secret and was working to help her keep it. Mastermind looked up as they came in and locked eyes with Starflight. His expression was startled, but in a distracted way, as if he was dealing with something far more important. And after a moment, he bent back to the armor without saying anything to his son. Phew. Battlewinner snarled Greatness. Greatness hung her head, looking less like a queen than ever. Preparations? The Nightwing Queen hissed. Everyone is gathering, Greatness said, but Mother, I can't lead them into battle by myself. Can't we postpone the attack? Mastermind says your armor isn't ready. It will be, Battlewinner hissed. Tonight. I don't think so, Mastermind said anxiously from behind her. He dropped a curved tail plate with a loud clatter and winced. Your Majesty, I don't understand why you have to go. I need more time to make sure this will work for you. Must do this right, Battlewinner snarled. Can't trust you to invade properly. She cast a scornful look at Greatness. You shouldn't, Greatness said, fingering the diamonds around her neck. I don't know what you want me to do, so I was coming to ask you, and then... And then she ran into me, Glory said. Mastermind let out a yelp of fright as Glory's scales shimmered into sight, shifting from the camouflage of the shadows to a bold royal blue shot through with veins of gold. She looked regal and out of place in this smoky red and black cave. Well, she added, more accurately, she ran into my claws. She flexed her talons and narrowed her eyes at Queen Battlewinner. And you are... growled the Queen. Queen Glory of the Rainwings. I've come to give you one chance to end this war before we destroy you. The dragon in the lava made an involuntary scuffing sound that clearly hurt her throat. She paused for a long moment, clutching her neck, then dipped her whole body under the lava and emerged again. Funny, she said finally. Not very, Glory said. If you think an ice wing attack is hard to live with, wait until you experience a little rainwing venom. I'm afraid your lava bath won't be able to help you with that. Smoke hissed softly through Battlewinner's nostrils as she stared at Glory. Oh, 3 moons, Greatness said anxiously, wringing her talons. What do you want? What do you want? We're taking our prisoners back, Glory said. You will never set foot in the rainforest again. You will leave the Rainwings alone forever. We'll destroy the tunnels between our kingdoms. You call off the invasion and we'll never even sniff another Nightwing out near our village for the next 12 generations. Starflight cleared his throat a few times significantly, and Glory glanced at him. Also, she added, you'll stop meddling with the prophecy dragonets, both the real ones and the fake ones. You'll let them save the world and stop the war however they decide. Never, hissed Queen Battlewinner. Never. Never what? Glory said. Because you don't have a lot of options here. I see one. Battle Winner croaked. You die. Glory bared her teeth at the Nightwing Queen, but Greatness interrupted, her voice pleading. Please listen, you're dooming us to a horrible end, she cried. The volcano is not only a future threat, it's killing us now. There's almost no prey left. We're all starving. Fewer dragonettes are born each year, and we're barely Nightwings anymore. Don't you see? The tribe is dying. We need a new home. Well, you can't have ours, you murderous entitled worms. Glory flared. Why not? Why not? Mastermind asked, sounding genuinely confused. Because a whole tribe already lives there. Glory's scales were flashing to red and orange in places, hints of her anger showing through, although she quelled them quickly. And if you try to hurt my rain wings, I will make you regret it. Wait, Starflight said. His brain was suddenly spinning forward, a new idea unfolding across his mind like a scroll rolling open. Wait, maybe there is a way to compromise. Glory, stop and think. Maybe there's lots of space in the rainforest. The Rainwings say so all the time. What if we let the Nightwings move in and build their own village somewhere in the rainforest? But only if they all swear to accept you as their new queen. There was a shocked pause. I mean, he's kind of right. Right? What? Battlewinner roared. Glory tilted her head at Starflight, looking skeptical but intrigued. Think about it, Starflight said. A new home for the Nightwings, safe and peaceful, and all they have to do is give up their cruelty and violence and obey you. You know you'd be great at being Nightwing Queen as you know you'd be as great as being Nightwing Queen as you are at ruling the Rain Rings. Glory said. There would be something poetic about being the boss of a tribe that always calls me lazy and useless. Oh dear! It looks like... Ooh! Sorry, I accidentally read ahead. Never! Battlewinner shouted, then had to stop and double over coughing for a long minute. Uneasily, Starflight felt the ground shake again, much stronger this time. We'll never bow to Rain Wings. Battlewinner snarled finally. Actually, Mother, Greatness said nervously, it sounds like a decent plan to me. Battlewinner spat out a shard of ice that sizzled into steam when it hit the lava. You never wanted to be queen, she rasped. You're a pathetic heir. I know I am, Greatness said. Being queen is awful. Ooh, Greatness is showing some backbone against her mother! Yes! We like to see that. Battlewinner hissed again, long and loud. Starflight realized that he was also hearing something else, a faraway rumbling that seemed to be getting louder and closer. What about our real queen? Mastermind asked. Starflight stared straight into the icy blue depths of Battlewinner's eyes. I think you know she's not making it to the rainforest. There's nothing you can build that will work to keep her alive there. She's going to die here, crushed by the volcano along with the Nightwing home. And if she wants her tribe to survive, she needs to hand them over to Queen Glory. Battlewinner's tail was thrashing hard enough to spill lava over the edges of the cauldron, splattering dangerously close to their talons. I am their queen. I am, she spat. Wait, Starflight, Glory said. I haven't agreed to this. How could we ever trust the Nightwings in our rainforest? These are the same dragons who have been abducting and torturing my tribe. How can we just forgive them? I don't want them anywhere near us. She shook her head. I don't think it'll work. Mastermind looked sick at the words, abducting and torturing. He looked away from Starflight, staring down at the armor in his claws. It might work, Greatness said desperately. Give us a chance, please. I promise we can be better. Shameful, Battlewinner snarled. It's not up to you, Starflight said to the Nightwing Queen, and realized his voice wasn't even shaking. He was right. He could feel it. and that helped him get past his fear. You're stuck here. We're negotiating with greatness now. He turned to the Nightwing Princess. Come on, let's talk about this somewhere else. No! Roared Battlewinner. You can't do this! I won't let you! She gripped the sides of the cauldron with glistening claws, and then, to Starflight's horror, she heaved herself up and out of the lava. Her back talons crunched down on the edge of the cauldron. Her wings flared open, scattering molten orange droplets across the room. Her thick head swung back and forth, glaring at them all. At all of them. She was massive, as big as Marozia, and glowing horribly as lava dripped between her scales and claws and slithering off her tail. Mother, stop! Greatness cried. Your Majesty, Mastermind shouted. You can't come out. Wait, my experiment! He grabbed frantically at the armor around him. I will lead my tribe to safety, the Queen hissed. She landed on the rocky ground with a thud, but the aftershocks went on too long to be caused by her. It was an earthquake, a serious one. Starflight realized as bits of the wall began to crumble. We have to get out of here, he said to Glory. Queen Battlewinner took a step toward Glory, and Starflight then stopped, clutching her neck again. She hissed in a frightening, hoarse way and took another step. Her tongue flicked out and in, and she started to shake. When she stared around at all of them, Starflight could see the icy blue spreading rapidly over her eyeballs. Mother! Greatness yelped. Get back in the lava! She darted to her mother's side and tried tugging on Battlewinner's wing. Mastermind dashed up on the other side and started wrapping bits of metal around the Queen's limbs. But Starflight could tell that even if the armor would work, it was already too late. With a bone-rattling shriek, Battlewinner threw off her daughter and Mastermind and surged toward Glory. Glory took a step back, and the Nightwing Queen collapsed on the floor in front of her. Her limbs twitched violently, her wings spasmed, her tail thrashed back and forth. White frost was starting to marsh between the scales of her neck, spreading rapidly across her body. Lava dripped off Battlewinner faster and faster as the ice started to win the battle for her body. Greatness pressed herself against the wall, whimpering, as far away from the dying queen as possible. Starflight wanted to look away, but somehow he couldn't. He felt Fate Speaker bury her face in his shoulder. The Nightwing Queen's neck froze solid fast. Then her chest, her eyes, her wings, her snout, all the way out to her claws and her tail. Within moments, the dragon's entire body was encased in jagged whirls of ice. Her eyes were blue pools of rage. Her mouth froze wide open, as if she wanted to end her life with a howl of fury, but it was too late. Nothing could come out. Greatness and Mastermind stared down at the Queen, disbelief and horror whirring over their faces. Then the entire island shook, as if a giant dragon had pounded its talons into it. And Starflight felt his stomach twist with terror. The volcano was about to erupt. End of chapter 26! I don't know chapter 26! Oh my gosh, we left on a cliffhanger again! Ah! Oh my gosh, Sutherland, you are too good at this! How are you so good at that? Oh no! The volcano is about to erupt. Oh dear. Great. This is not good. We'll find out tomorrow what happens. We'll end the book tomorrow. Please let this be a somewhat good ending for both tribes. I really, 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 really want that. Although, even if the Rainwings had waited and didn't come through, the volcano would have erupted anyway, and most Nightwings would have died, and all the Rainwings and all the Rainwing prisoners, sadly. But it was a good thing that they actually did take the offensive first. So that there was a chance that both tribes could actually be saved and live together peacefully and not have to fight each other. Oh, I so desperately want to keep reading, but I am waiting for tomorrow, okay? Yeah, and that's going to be it for today. We'll be reading the rest of the book tomorrow. Then the rest of the weekend I will be playing Undertale. And then Monday we will start book 5, which is called The Brightest Night. Ooh. Yeah. So remember to keep hydrated and have fun, be yourself, and all that jazz. Have fun with being yourself. Don't let anyone tell you who you are. If they do, they're just assholes and should go sleep in a ditch. But yeah, see you tomorrow. I'm excited. I really, really, really just want to keep reading, but I am going to I'm going to restrain myself and not do that. Maybe I'll just play some Minecraft to distract myself from the book. But Starlight finally told Sunny he loves her. Yes! Anyway,